Excellent. So we are now coming to you talking about health alignment. This is day 3 of the Soulful speaker series, and I am just so freaking excited to be here. It's been a really powerful couple of days so far. I've really enjoyed all the talks from our speakers and connecting with all of you. And I myself have had a lot of kind of awakening and aha moments. And health alignment is a topic that I am particularly really interested in. If you follow me at all, you may know my story. Last year I had a baby and was really busy running 3 businesses and, just a busy new mom. And my health totally took a slide. And although I was doing all the things, meditating, visualizing, journaling, I realized that I can't meditate my way into good health. Like it actually takes not work, but it takes, certain practices and a certain lifestyle. So this talk is going to be really relevant to me today. And I know a lot of you kind of have things going on in your health that this will surely be helpful for you too. If you don't know me yet, my name is Megan. I am the founder of Clouds and Dirt. I'm a mother of 2, a business owner, and just a regular woman like yourself that has fallen down the rabbit hole of spiritual and personal development. And that's kind of why Clouds and Dirt was born, as a platform or as a way for us women to come together and share this wisdom and share this knowledge. It's not so often we can, talk to people in our real life about this type of stuff, about alignment, about spirituality. So Clouds and Dirt is really just a safe place to come and grow and cultivate this type of lifestyle together. And the Soulful Speaker Series is just a natural extension of that. It's an opportunity to bring in experts in certain areas who can speak to us, and so we can kind of go through this process and have these kind of breakthroughs together. So super excited. Our speaker today, I actually can't think of anyone better to speak to the topic of health alignment than this lady. She is a wellness coach. She coaches anywhere from like high profile NFL athletes to down-to-earth stay-at-home moms. Her background is in traditional Chinese medicine, which I find really fascinating. And yeah, she's going to tell us all about health alignment. So I'm going to present to you now Melanie Rogers. Mel, take it from here. We're going to have, if you have any questions, please enter them in the comments below, and Melanie will hop on and she can answer them later. So this isn't going to be a live video today, but you can watch it now and we will engage with all the comments, so it will still be super interactive. So make sure to leverage the comments, and I'm going to hand it over to you, Melanie, and just sit back and enjoy.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. I'm so thrilled to be here. So hi, everybody. Yeah, I have a background in Chinese medicine, and I'm a wellness coach. I'm also a Pilates trainer, and I run a lot of holistic in-person boot camps, and I'm excited to be launching some new online programs that sort of fuse health, wellness, and fitness and nutrition in with my passion, which is alignment from a spiritual standpoint, which is what I'm talking about today. Alignment with our health, and specifically alignment with our food choices, because really our health starts from the way we eat. And that is what we're mostly talking about today. What does it mean to be in alignment? We've talked about this all week in our Soulful Speaker Series. Being connected to yourself, your inner self, your inner intuition. But with that comes really beautiful, wonderful feelings. And that's how you know you're in alignment. So I would say feeling calm, feeling joyful, feeling serene, having clarity. That's a huge one for feeling in alignment. Having clear messages, feeling peaceful and joyful and fun. And then again, just self-loving, which means self-protection. And when we really come from a sense of alignment with our health, our choices 99% of the time are going to be good for us. And maybe like 96-7% of the time. But those few percentages of time that maybe we don't make the best choices, then we can use that as information for our bodies and not punish ourselves. So that's what I'm big on. I want to talk about aligned eating. What is aligned eating? I feel today we are so bombarded with fad diets. Some diets and nutritional paradigms, many of them have great validity and they work for a lot of people, but it can be extremely confusing to consumer, to us women. And finding peace with your food is one of my biggest passions, because it doesn't really matter what food modality, paradigm, diet you choose to pick for yourself ultimately. What's the most important is that you align with that, you feel good with that, and you reap the benefits of whatever food choices that you make, and that you make peace with all the food that you eat. And that even includes those indulgent foods that we can food shame ourselves for. And that is a huge thing for us women, is food shaming. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. What happens when you are aligned with your eating? Well, first and foremost is you tend to make choices that are good and nourishing for you. And that comes not out of self-deprivation and self-hatred and trying to get skinny and trying to get fit, but it comes from self-love. It comes from loving your source energy so much that you want to make the best choices for yourself, because food is energy. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. And what our bodies do through chemical reactions is take that latent energy, that potential energy in the food, and we transform it into our own energy. So we literally are what we eat. Truly, it's chemical science, and it's sort of spiritual as well. So choosing foods that nourish you are going to make you think better, more clearly, make your digestion flow. All three of our brains will work better: our brain in our head, brain in our heart, and the brain in our gut. Also, aligned eating, we do, again, recognize the energetics of food, and that food has the potential to heal. Food is not just calories. Food is not just macronutrients, or even not just even micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, antioxidants. All that's great. All that's fantastic. That's something that we still cover with my clients, with my online programs. But recognize that the energetics of food can heal. It can heal emotions. It can heal physical ailments. And that's like the foundation of any healthcare system that you really want to adopt, is how you eat. Also, someone who is aligned with their eating does not food shame. And we are all guilty of this. I used to be a professional ballet dancer, so I'm really good at food shaming, but I've come so far with actually aligning with whatever I eat, even if I am indulging, and dropping the food guilt. Also, we use indigestion, and we use sort of poor food choices or not feeling well. We use that as information when we are working from an aligned eating space. So what that means is, say something you eat doesn't make you feel good. You got indigestion. Instead of going into a dark place emotionally or beating yourself up, you actually go, okay, this is information for me. I am going to figure out what it was that was just sort of made me misaligned, and moving forward, I will make other choices later. And so we don't food shame. We don't have food guilt. We don't get angry and over emotional, but we just use that as information. So again, this is all about honing in with your intuition, which is that quiet voice on the inside that really guides you on everything in life, including your food choices, and finding peace with your food, which is my biggest goal for everyone, is to find peace with their diet. Okay, so some tips for aligned eating. Number one is appreciation. So we all know that appreciation can engender good feeling thoughts, the law of attraction, more good feeling thoughts come to us. So that is the same with our food. Appreciate the food that you are given. Actually put your chi, which is your energy, your intention, in the food before you eat it, giving it thanks. So for some people, that comes across perfectly fine during times of prayer right before a meal. For me, I can just sit and look at my food and be like, I am so blessed. I'm so appreciative. Thank you so much for the food. It is amazing what energetic shifts go on in your subconscious and your conscious brain when you start to evoke the feelings of appreciation and gratitude during any time in your life, and that includes with eating. Also, taking that moment before you eat slows you down, and I'm going to talk next about slowing down when you eat, and stopping and doing prayer, appreciation, or gratitude before you eat any meal, whether on the run or at a nice fancy dinner table, will cause you to pause, focus on your food, and slow down. Another tip for aligned eating is actually really listening to your body and trying to push out what everyone else is telling you to eat. Now, this can take practice, because We've got that inner mind chatter that goes on and on about what we should eat. And it's sometimes hard to differentiate between that inner mind chatter and your intuition talking with you. For example, if you want some chocolate and you're wondering, do I really want this chocolate because I'm emotional, which I'll talk about later? Do I really want this chocolate because I just know that intuitively I'm craving those dark chocolate antioxidants? You have to really kind of differentiate where that message is coming from. So listening to your body also means to slow down. And I definitely would suggest adhering to a meditation practice, which I think throughout the week we've all been talking about how important meditation is. And I meditate in the morning and right before bed. Although I may not meditate before my meals or around my meals, the active meditation starts to get me in tune with my body. It starts to engender law of attraction with good feeling thoughts, with a lot of self-love and self-protection. And that's going to naturally lead you towards listening to your body with your food choices. And then when you do eat a meal, you can actually notice how you feel by slowing down and paying attention. So many times we actually don't look at our body's messages that are given to us, our physical messages that our biomechanical body is giving us, whether or not something is really nourishing us or not. Gas and bloating, feeling tired, getting a headache, feeling crampy or achy in our joints, maybe just feeling a little off. All of those are very specific messages our body is trying to talk to us. We need to honor what it's saying. Even if we sometimes need to write it down, maybe even do a food journal, which for some people will work fantastically. For others, it's a little too detail oriented. But when you start to notice how you feel from certain foods, you can gather that information and start to develop your own intuition on what meals, what foods, and like how you eat in general, how that affects you personally. Then when you are given a food modality, a food diet, nutrition plan, where you see something in the news or you read something, you can kind of see, okay, is this really aligned with what I already know to be true about my body? Does this make me kind of curious and wanting to try it? Or am I already going, no, that just doesn't sound right to me? And you're not going to question it because of your overthinking brain. You're going to actually know on the inside because you've been paying attention. So another thing, tips for aligned eating, pay attention after, before, during your meals. Also, another tip for aligned eating is create rituals around food. In American society / modern society, we have lost a lot of our rituals. And it's funny because I wasn't even raised a whole lot with rituals surrounding meals, but now I really, really appreciate them. It can be as simple as everybody sitting down and you being thankful, even saying out loud, hey guys, let's all be thankful for our meal. Thank you for the earth, for bringing us healthy, nourishing soil to make our food nutrient dense. You could do rituals like light a candle, holding hands in prayer, of course, is a ritual. Sitting down, being quiet, making yourself take 3 deep breaths, all of that ritualistic. You can make it your own. You can have fun with it. You can light incense. You can really do anything around meals that slows you down, engenders appreciation, and then makes you start to listen to your body. So it all kind of leads to the same path. Back to slowing down, it's huge. Chew, chew, chew. Aligned eaters don't rush their meals. It's a big one for me because I often see clients 6, 7, 8 hours in a row in person and then go home or maybe drive to their house and do coaching. And then I'm on the phone and then it's really easy to stuff down something quickly. Slowing down always benefits your digestion. Your first enzymes, your first line of defense with your digestion is in your mouth. So the more you chew, the more you're breaking down your food, the less gas you're going to have. The quicker you swallow, the more gas and bloating you have, which can cause you to actually get kind of inaccurate information about the foods you eat, because it might not be this food is a trigger for you. It might actually be that you just need to slow down and chew your food. I do eat smoothies and shakes. It's kind of the nature of my busy schedule. I make sure I get the most high quality organic shakes I can find. I actually chew my shakes instead of just gulp them down for that whole reason of starting my digestion in my mouth and for slowing down and enhancing my digestion and not get gas and bloating. So I actually take a sip of my shake and do that. Anyway, so that's something I would highly recommend that you do. Slow down. And then when you are eating, slowing down will naturally lead you to my next tip for aligned eating, which is focus on your food. I love good conversation during a meal. I'm not saying everybody, be quiet and just eat your food and don't look around at each other. Because part of the socialization factor that I think sometimes we're missing with our meals is actually sitting down together and enjoying a meal and talking. But I do encourage you, even when you have other people around and you're talking, you're having fun and you're talking about your day, is to focus on your food. That means the taste, the texture. Savor every moment. I want you to feel satisfaction with your meals, because the more satisfied you feel in life in general, and I wrote a blog post about this actually on Clouds and Dirt, the more satisfied you feel throughout your day, little satisfactions everywhere, the more aligned you're going to be and the happier you're going to be, and the more that good positive law of attraction benefit you're going to have. So when you focus on your food and you actually feel super satisfied with each and every bite, first of all, you're going to eat less. You're going to digest better. You're going to actually, again, notice and listen to your body more and those little reactions, positive or negative, that you might have from certain foods. And it also engenders more appreciation. See how we keep that momentum going? We're still going down the path with all my tips. That momentum of appreciation can't help but enhance and increase when you are really focused on your food and feel the satisfaction from it. And the best thing, though, is you don't tend to overeat, because first of all, you feel fuller faster, so you'll stop eating sooner, and you will feel satiated, nurtured, and feel that nutrient density coming through to you when you focus on your food. Also, tips for aligned eating. One of my favorite tips, which is huge for us women, talked about it earlier, no food shaming, no food guilt. No, none, like really, no food guilt. That's a tough one, because first of all, we know what foods are typically bad, like cookies and cakes, and some people hate bacon. I love it. If you're vegetarian, that could be incredibly a bad food shaming thing for you. It's totally individual what you typically can associate with bad or naughty type foods. But energetically, is it a benefit to you to feel guilt and to feel shame? Will it benefit your digestion? If you're trying to lose weight, will it benefit your weight loss by food shaming yourself, especially after you eat it? No, in fact, it does the opposite. With our energy, our vibe, and what we think about, we bring about, we actually create more of what we don't want. Our body tends to hold on to the weight more. We hold on to negative thoughts when we food shame and food guilt. So the best thing to do is let it go. Every meal is a new chance to stay aligned and healthy and nourish your body. And the last meal is gone. Use it for information, but let it go. It will truly benefit you more if we don't hang on to when we're mad at ourselves that we ate a certain way. That would be my biggest thing. And sometimes you even have to say it. I let go of any and all food guilt and food shame that I might be harboring from the last meal I ate. I know that my body is strong enough to handle these high fat or high sugar foods with ease and with flow, and my next meal is going to balance out everything. These are literally things you're going to say to yourself. I'm a big believer in affirmations. Affirmations work, and they help train your subconscious mind to think more positively all the time. So again, no food shaming. And then with that, tips for aligned eating, I want you to actually align with all the food you eat, including the indulgent foods that you're going to eat. So this is like a step before no food shaming. This is coming back and aligning with yourself before you eat something that you know is sort of like on your naughty list, which of course you shouldn't have a naughty list, but we all kind of do when we're trying to eat healthy. And healthy is, in the eye of the beholder. And that's the thing. And that's why you need to listen to yourself and not everybody around you. Gather information from nutritionists and doctors and people that know a lot about it. It's all great. I love to geek out on nutrition, but ultimately listen to yourself. So align with those indulgent foods. What does that mean? That means I have a piece of chocolate cake in front of me, and I'm going to say, heck yes, I'm eating this and I'm going to enjoy it. And my body is strong and I treat it well so often. And I've healed and I have such a good energy about this cake that it is not going to do anything negative. In fact, I'm going to get positive, joyful, satisfaction-filled energy from it. Literally say that to yourself. Sometimes if you're at the party, the other day I was at a party. It was a fantastic fun house party, and I was starving, and there was all kinds of food, but it all was pasta based, and I tend to, kind of avoid gluten foods for my own tummy. But I knew I had to practice what I preached because I was hungry and I was definitely going to be eating that pasta. So I took a few deep breaths. Nobody saw, kind of did it on my own. And I said, this food's going to nourish me. It was cooked by love. I actually knew the mom that cooked it, and it was for her son's 30th birthday. So it was just like, this is cooked with love, and I'm going to be fine. And I've got a strong body. I treat my body well. And I just took a couple breaths. I'm like, I'm good to go. Now, I still do that because I can get in my head about food. So if you were crazy aligned, and you wouldn't even have to do that sort of little pre-ritual trying to get aligned with something that you deem, kind of naughty. But for me, I'm just being honest and real. I do have some of those issues around certain foods that I have known triggered me in the past. And so I do need to do those rituals, and I'm okay with that. And so I'm passing those tricks on to you, because I don't care how perfect you seem, how perfectly spiritual you are. We're all human. We're all trying to figure this out figure out spirituality and alignment in the human world. And we're not perfect, and we can't always just go higher. And sometimes we need those little tricks to help us. So there's my trick for eating indulgent foods. Enjoy it, and then eat slowly. And the slower you eat, maybe the less you'll eat of that food, and just, no food guilt. So I want to talk a little bit about, those are my tips for aligned eating, but I want to talk a little bit about connecting with our emotions when we have cravings. Okay, this is huge for women. The question you need to ask yourself when you're walking into the cupboard, especially late at night or at a time that's what you would kind of think maybe potentially not appropriate, or maybe going, a snack that you may not need. Am I hungry or am I emotional? This is so easy to talk to you guys and just say this and be like, oh yeah, just ask yourself, are you hungry or emotional? It's much more challenging to practice this when you're actually in an emotional state and reaching for something in the kitchen. It really is. Because when you're in an emotional state, a reactive state where something on the external has come and affected us, and we kind of are in a tizzy about it, it's hard to stop yourself and say, wait, am I hungry or am I emotional? But I'm going to challenge you guys to try it, because honestly, a lot of healthy eating and even weight loss plans fail because of when we get emotional and when we start to reach for things that aren't super aligned with us at a time, because we're not in alignment, right? When we're super emotional, I'm talking about more negative emotions, most specifically, we're not in alignment. So we're going to reach for things that are probably not in alignment with us. And we're not going to think about doing our little aligning with your indulgent food trick because we're emotional, and then it just spirals there. So it's important to try to find the source of the emotion when you feel like you're emotionally eating, and be raw and real with yourself. For example, let's say I will use my teenage son. I got really upset with him. Maybe I actually raised my voice more than I wanted to. I didn't stay in my alignment. I let him rile me up too much. So maybe, 15 minutes later, I find myself in the kitchen and I find myself reaching for chocolate or reaching for plantain chips or whatever other snack that I know I'm not hungry, but I just start to, eat. And I'll sit there and be like, okay, what's really going on? I'm upset that I got upset with my son, and I'm upset with the way my son behaved, which initially was the factor that made me upset. So here's the trick. The trick is trying to pivot your emotions so that you can slowly ease out of those negative emotions, feel better, and then you're honestly not going to crave that snack in the kitchen as much. Pivoting your emotions to self-soothe is a hugely impactful practice to do when you want to stay aligned. If you're feeling upset, like I'm mad at my son, you can't just say, okay, I feel so happy. I love my son. I'm so happy and blessed that my son's in my life. You're not going to be able to believe it. It won't feel right to you, and you actually just feel fake. You'll still go for those chips. So when you pivot, you slowly self-soothe and pivot your emotions to a better feeling thought. So I'll give you a quick example. You're mad at your son. You start to go, I'm really upset with the way I acted, but I acted that way because he was so disrespectful. I don't like when he's disrespectful. It makes me feel like all the work that I do isn't being honored and respected. So you've just honored your emotions just now, right? You've just honored what you're feeling, because that's the number one step, honor those emotions. Number two, you know, it's not every day that my son's disrespectful. In fact, I don't even know where he's coming from. He may have had a bad day himself, and he doesn't have the skill set to differentiate between maybe something that happened at school, something that happened with me. Not everyone's reaction is a personal attack on me. It's usually something that's going on with them. You're starting to pivot those emotions, starting to feel a little better. And you go, you know, it's okay to sometimes overreact. At least now I'm recognizing it. And I know that in the future I have a chance to not overreact. And I know my son and I have a really good time normally. And so what can I do to sort of help this? Maybe we can watch a show later tonight. Or maybe now I can go up to him and maybe we can both apologize to each other and just sort of work things out. And, you know, I know he's going to turn out to be a good kid. You know, I sometimes get afraid that he's going to say, you know, disrespectful in adulthood, but I know he's a good kid at heart. And I know that it's all going to work out. All of a sudden you feel better, right? So I'm teaching you, I'm showing you an example of how to pivot your emotions by self-soothing. You're literally talking to yourself. You're honoring and acknowledging your emotion, getting to the root of it. And then you're slowly helping yourself feel better. Now you're not going to feel maybe joyful and elated, but you might feel a little more satisfied, a little more at peace, a little more of like, okay, I got a little bit of a solution. We're going to talk. We're going to do something fun together tonight. You know, something along those lines where you feel better. All of a sudden, you may not crave going to the cupboard and grabbing those chips. You've also stopped yourself because the momentum of you go into the cupboard, you stop yourself and you start going through that pivoting routine I just taught you to slowly self-soothe. You take a pause and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I'm going to the cupboard and I'm not really hungry. And you can walk away from the cupboard and you can actually go talk to your son, which is literally the problem, and try to, you know, make things feel a little better. So that's just an example. I hope that helps. But connecting to your emotions with eating is huge. Asking yourself, are you hungry or emotional? Don't try to go from here to here in one fell swoop if you're trying to change your emotions. You're trying to pivot and slowly feel better with those emotions, just enough to feel some peace within, a little more aligned, and having some more self-strength to walk away from something that's not really nourishing you. And let me tell you what, if you're not able to do it, you still go for the chips, guess what? We're not food shaming anyway, so it's gonna be okay. Food guilt, goodbye. Tomorrow's another day. Each meal is another day, okay? So that's a really important one that I could talk forever about, pivoting your emotions, but I hope that helps. What are the benefits of aligned eating in general? Better digestion, first and foremost. If you have digestion problems, it's almost critical that you get aligned with your eating and you start to be intuitive with your eating. I know for myself, because I've had digestive problems my whole life, that if I eat too quickly, if I am emotional and I eat, if I'm not in tune with my body, I know it right away with my digestion. It's sort of like, it's a really big indicator for me. So better digestion. Maintain healthy weight. And that comes from sustainable techniques to figure out what works for you. Now, it's not to say that I don't with my clients, give them food plans, give them recipes, give them nutrition modalities. But at the end of the day, if your mind isn't right, if your alignment is off, no goal is going to be reached or sustained if you don't take those steps in getting aligned with your eating, honing on your intuition, and eating from a true place of self-love. It's just not going to be sustained. You might get results for 6 weeks and then go so far off the wagon after that you gain all the way back or whatever it is that your health goal is. The benefits of aligned eating are also you start to drown out the nutrition experts. And I laugh at this because I follow and love so many nutrition experts, and I share that knowledge with a lot of my clients. However, there's a lot of contradictory information, and there's a lot of research to back all that contradictory information. It can drive you insane. It drives me insane. I eat it all up and I'm a geek about it. So ultimately, you bring in information and see how it resonates with you on the inside when you have aligned eating. Doesn't mean you're not going to make mistakes, doesn't mean you're not going to try things that aren't working for you, but by and large, you will get so good at honing in on your intuition that you trust yourself over health experts. And that is true with medical doctors and even holistic practitioners. Ultimately, you know what's best for you and your health. And my goal with women is to empower them to take back their own health by listening to themselves and not to this person over here. And I'm not really talking about MDs much today. That's a whole other topic, but I'm talking about today, nutrition. And then the benefits of aligned eating is self-confidence, because the way we eat is our foundation for health. It's the foundation of how we look, how our skin glows, our weight, our strength, our energy, how our brain functions, everything. It's our foundation. And when we have a good relationship with food, a healthy relationship with food, because we have a healthy relationship with ourselves, then we're going to have a ton of sexy, flourishing, happy, joyful self-confidence. So those are the benefits of aligned eating. And then let's see, I want to talk about the energetics of food a little bit. I have no idea what time it is. How are we doing on time? Okay. Oop. Do we need to stop? It's 12:38. Okay, I'll keep going.
Keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to hear about energetics of
Forever,
food,
so.
please.
So I want to talk a little bit about the energetics of food. So we all know that food has energy, and we call that energy calories, but we're not talking about calories right now. We all know that food has their macronutrients, you know, the protein, the fat, and the carbohydrates. We also know that food has micronutrients. So we've got your minerals and your vitamins, antioxidants, and phytochemicals, and all that wonderful stuff that it benefits our bodies. And it's great and interesting to learn what those minerals and vitamins and phytonutrients and antioxidants and what they do to our bodies. There's fantastically intricate, beautiful chemical reactions that benefit our body. And the more research and the more you learn about nutrition, the more you realize that eating nutrient-dense whole foods is the way to go. But I want you to look at food a different way as well. And that's a different type of energy. So if you believe that we are spirits, energetic, vibrational spirits inside these bodies on earth, food is the same way. Food contains energy, and our bodies beautifully take that energy and make it our own. And food has the power to heal. And it has the power to heal in ancient traditional cultures, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, to just name two of them. Food has specific energetic effects based on their thousands of years of observation to specific organ systems in our bodies. And so you may eat a banana because it has potassium and magnesium and some good healthy carbohydrates after a workout, but the banana may also nourish your liver, and the banana may actually calm you energetically, emotionally. And it's really cool to think about foods as healing, because you tend to want to reach out to those foods and honor the fact that they're healing you, which if your brain and your subconscious mind is thinking that way when you're eating your food, you're going to get so much more value out of your food, because again, law of attraction, and you're actually changing your cellular, like down to the cellular level, the positivity of eating and how it benefits you, because eating is not a punishment. Eating is a blessing that we get to do here on this earth. So I actually recommend that if you have, like, for example, a piece of fruit, that you actually hold it and actually kind of go woo-woo and like feel the energy of it, and actually thank the food. We talked about this with our appreciation and gratitude. Thank the food for coming to your body and healing you. I know that's hard to do if you're having like a plate that you need a fork and a knife and a spoon for, but the food you can hold it. It's kind of cool. If you just, it's like you can go outside into nature and you can feel, and you're really attuned, you're really aligned, you want to kind of, go a little spiritual, you can feel the energy of nature, right? The kind of vibration, the vibration, the energy. Same thing with food, which is why from ancient traditions to modern science, whole foods is really the way to go. The closest that you can come to nature, because it has it's closest to the source of the energy. So, and you do consume and take on the energy of that food, which is why even if you eat meat, but eating, grass-fed organic, when the animals are treated well and they're fed well, that energy goes into us. And a lot of ancient traditional cultures actually also eat, if they do organ meat, they eat the organ meat of if you have a diseased organ in your body to treat it. And that's another ancient traditional way of using food to heal. Also, food is categorized in traditional medicines by their flavor, temperature, and the effect on the organ. I talked about the effect on the organ already, but their flavor: sweet, sour, pungent, salty, and also their temperature. And I don't mean that you eat it hot or cold. I mean it's nature temperature. Let me try to give an example. Garlic and peppers, they're considered warming. So if you have a cold condition, if you tend to be cold and kind of weak and maybe get sick a lot, having those sort of warming foods can help. And an example is like garlic and peppers. Cooling foods, cucumbers, watermelon, a lot of our summer fruits help physically cool you down. A lot of them are even diuretics as well. So looking at food from an energetic standpoint on temperature, if you know your own body and know you tend towards overheating, or you tend towards cool, or you tend towards stagnation, and stagnation, you're going to eat more pungent foods, more spicy foods to help move that energy flow. If you look at it that way, it's sort of fun because you can kind of prescribe your own food diet based on what your natural constitution or what your natural tendency is. Sweet foods are more moistening to the body. If you tend towards having dryness, dry sinuses, salty foods are known to detoxify. Bitter foods, which we don't eat a whole lot of here in the United States, but they are one of the 5 flavors that's important to actually have to balance your body. And bitter foods help drain moisture. So if you have edema or you tend towards water retention. And then salty, bitter, sweet, pungent. Yeah, pungent, what I talked about earlier, that promotes energy flow. So that helps relieve stagnation. And it's just really cool to think about those foods, that each food has a temperature and has a flavor, and also seasonally. Eating seasonally is another way to look at the foods. So trying to eat with the seasons of your local area is going to also benefit your body. They're going to be the more nutrient dense at that time of year as well. So this book, I have an old edition, but this book, Healing with Whole Foods, it's from a Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine background. And it really goes into each specific food, because it's kind of hard to remember all of them, and telling you what it treats. You can look up different conditions and get what traditional medicine recommends. It's a really fun way of looking at food. And it's not like you have to adhere to it, with every single thing it says, but it's going to give you, again, information, see what resonates with you, and have fun with it. Now, for some people, it might be too much information, but I did just want to mostly focus on, even though I gave you that book, and that you can really look into specifics and see how you can balance out the flavors and time of year with your constitution, how you already kind of run. And I want you just to kind of, the biggest point I want to get across with this energetics of food section is that food does heal, and that foods have energy that you bring into your own body, and honor that. Just honor it, recognize it, appreciate it, honor it, be aware of it, and you'll start to actually naturally make food choices with that in mind, which is going to benefit your body. So I go over the energetics of food in more detail in a program I'm launching starting May 1st. It's called Sacred Spaces Detox, and it's not just your average food detox. And it's called Sacred Spaces Detox because we are honoring our internal and our external sacred spaces, our internal and external landscape. And so the energetics of food we're going to cover as part of the food detox section and part of the internal landscape. We'll also talk about aligned eating in more detail and intuitive eating in more detail. So that's more of the internal detox. Sacred space landscape. And then we go a ton into mindset and self-love techniques and meditation techniques. This is great if you've never meditated before and want some tips, but it's also good to enhance your meditation. We go a lot with female empowerment self-love, because if your mind isn't right and if you're not truly loving yourself, you really cannot sustain any good health and fitness program. And then the external sacred space that we're going to work on, our external environment, is I'm bringing in a good friend of mine who is a feng shui expert. That is the ancient Chinese art of home placement, but she's got a great modern twist on it. And we're going to talk about decluttering and creating sacred spaces in our own home, because our external environment is a reflection of our internal landscape and vice versa. So we can enhance our external environment to bring us more alignment, to bring us more calmness, and to bring us manifestation. We can enhance the different areas of our homes that represent different areas of our life. And this is what's really cool, and I can't wait. I'm actually going to learn from her and probably do this on my own as well. There's a map in feng shui, and it has all the different areas of your life: career, love, family, creativity. There's like 7 of them, maybe 9. She's my expert. I'm bringing her in. But it's really awesome because you apply it to your home, both in each room and then across your entire house. And then you can enhance those areas to enhance and manifest certain parts of your life. It's really, really cool. And she definitely has a modern spin on this. And it's really simple techniques that can bring about huge transformational change. And it's really a cool combo to have our internal detox, which is going to be, there will be a whole food plan. Then we're going to talk about our intuitive eating, the energetics of food, and basically self-love boot camp. We're going to go deep with our self-love and our meditation techniques and our affirmations and how to pivot our emotions. We're going to talk about a lot so that we aren't as affected by what's going on around us, that we can stay happy and aligned no matter what other people do, which is a huge thing. It enhances relationships with your spouse, significant other, your kids, your coworkers, your boss, everyone around you. Because if you can stay happy and aligned, not only do you actually bring about better behavior out of the other person energetically, but if you do get behavior you don't care for, you can stay happy, you can stay centered. And that is the biggest self-confident, empowered boost that you could possibly have, because the only thing that we have control of, the only thing in life we have control of is our relationship to ourselves. So we'll do a lot with that self-love boot camp. And then the last piece is that feng shui. And we are going to enhance an area of our life. We're going to get the map. We're going to learn how to just do some really simple tricks to enhance our external landscape in order to benefit our internal landscape. So that is happening on May 1st. I just have, my website is melrogers.com. My name is Melanie, but everyone calls me Mel. So it's melrogers.com. Mel Rogers, no D, melrogers.com. And Sacred Spaces Detox is already up there. There's a PayPal link if you're interested. And then I'll send you an email once you sign up, and it starts May 1st. It's all online. It's a 30-day program, and we'll be having a closed Facebook group. You'll be getting videos and PDFs, and we'll be doing some live calls, question and answer. It's going to be really cool, and it's a great start to the spring. Talk about spring cleaning, so I'm really excited about that. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm happy and passionate to share all this information with you guys. I think it's really life-changing, and it's simple but life-changing. There you go.
Awesome. That is amazing. And that Sacred Spaces Detox sounds exactly what I need for just the spring season. Like getting it right on the inside, which is great, but
yeah.
I'm just looking around at my external environment right now, like dog, kids, and clutter and stuff, and how fabulous I would feel if I could align my external home environment to the work I'm doing internally. And I mean, I mentioned before, food energetics, that is just so fascinating to truly understand my constitution better and what I can eat to give myself better clarity and alignment and connection. That to me is so fascinating right now. And, byproducts of that are, having the trim toned body I want and, sleeping well. But for me right now, it's all about just the clarity and the energy and just fueling myself with the foods that are right for me right now. So
because the rest falls in place. If your goal is to stay aligned and find foods that align with you, and then not shame yourself, then the rest really honestly falls into place. Even if you're working with a doctor or a nutritionist or someone that's giving you a very specific regime, you can still go back and say, okay, does this all align with me? And how do I feel with this? And you can still make those choices.
Yeah.
Even if you're working really specifically. So yeah, that's awesome.
And I love slowing down. You emphasized that a few times during your talk. And I think that how important that is to slow down and understand when we're eating emotionally and having that time to appreciate, and how that appreciation, it builds the momentum for more appreciation. So not only are we getting the physical health benefits, but we're being in that vibration and we're attracting more things to be appreciative for. It's so intertwined, it's so holistic. And
it is. We can forget about eating because we kind of take it for granted, especially in this country when most of us are able to feed ourselves. But every law of attraction, every aligned spiritual person says, if you want more good things to come to you, the number one thing is appreciation and gratitude besides being good. And why not do that with our food,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on today. And I've like just scribbled like a whole page of notes.
Awesome.
I'm a bit of a geek. But I know that a lot of people are going to have questions and comments. So as I mentioned before, please write them in the comments and Melanie will address them. And I highly encourage you to check out the Sacred Spaces detox that she has. I certainly will be. What better way to, if optimal health is a priority for you, which why wouldn't it be? This sounds like the course or the workshop to really make it a priority and know your shit, like learn this stuff, internalize this stuff, like make it second nature to you. And I am so committed to doing that for myself. So I know a lot of people, I'm sure, are in the same boat. So thank you so much for joining us. I'd also love it if you could link your website in the comments too, so people can find you. And
sure. Get up and running, and then I would be happy to do a question and answer separate live if people wanted to, or I could just answer it in the comments as they come in. I'm fine either way, but we had technical difficulties today. But
the day Facebook decides to crash.
Of course.
We rolled with it. It's all good. Great. Well, we'll say goodbye to everybody now, and we'll keep chatting after I stop this broadcast. But thanks again for being with us and shining this light on us and all your wisdom. And I so appreciate all of it. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you for putting this on. I'm very blessed to be able to start to really get out there and share everything that I've been really working on for the last few years. And yeah, you guys come check out my website, and I hope to connect with all of you guys.
Fabulous. See ya.
Thanks. Bye.